Only a handful of people, probably African hunters or game wardens, have ever witnessed the birth of a baby elephant in the wild. The few existing descriptions of this momentous event relate how elephant midwives crowd round to help and encourage the mother to produce her giant offspring. There's one such infant now. This is the story of the long African day of a baby elephant. Whatever else happens in a baby elephant's day, the visit to the waterhole is always the highlight. Baby elephants readily take to the water the moment they can stand. This water baby is only a few hours old. It's so young it hasn't yet learned to suckle properly. Baby elephants suckle with their mouth, not with their trunk, as many people suppose. It even approaches a bull, as if he could feed it. The bull, who happened to be drinking when the cowherd arrived with their calves, is curious about the scent of the recently born baby. There he goes again. It's probably the birth scents of both the mother and her calf that intrigue him and compel him to follow them around, sniffing and feeling the baby with his trunk. It's curiosity to a large extent. There's no way the cow is going to mate with him, and it's obvious he means the baby no harm. The skin care of an elephant involves three main natural cosmetics: water, or preferably mud, and failing mud, water followed by dust. Infants get a coating of the elephant equivalent of talcum powder from their elders. But they quickly learn by imitation to look after their own toilet. Like human children, infant elephants require a great deal of sleep. When it's time to move on again, the very young are woken by the herd's nannies. They're probably older sisters. This time, it's the mother who wakes her baby. At the start of the day, when it's still cool, calves are always ready to stop and play and have to be urged to keep up. The herd, consisting entirely of females and young, now sets out on the real business of any elephant's day: eating. Even this infant is picking up grass and trying it experimentally as it hurries along. The elephant carrying the chewed stick is a young teenager. The day is already heating up. Whenever there's a halt in the line of march, the infants know where to find some shade, even on the barest plain. Their mothers provide it. Like all small children, little elephants very soon get bored. This weeks-old baby decides to practice its threat charge. Those flared ears will be very intimidating by the time it's 10 or 12 years old. The mother's gesture unmistakably says, "Come on, we're moving." The first main feeding objective of the day is just a few minutes away, where the acacia scrub begins. Young or old, elephants are basically eating machines. They eat for 18 to 20 hours out of every 24. So the long, hot African day is spent munching vegetation, with a short stroll in between each snack. The calves have to keep up, even though they don't need much solid food themselves. Their mothers tuck away around 300 pounds of vegetable matter in a day's grazing and browsing. A 4-day-old calf like this will suckle for at least 6 months, and maybe even for 3 years, so the mothers need plenty of nourishment. Though they're dependent on their mothers for a long time, young elephants need some solid food from a very early age. This calf is around 6 months old. Unfortunately, these days, elephants are great destroyers of their environment. Though the national parks in which they're mostly confined are often vast, the elephants wreck the woodlands in their search for food. The youngsters soon learn the art of debarking trees from their mothers, sisters, and aunts. Obviously, the bark makes good some deficiency in their diet, but sometimes the herds appear to strip or push over trees just for the fun of it. These are teenagers. Teenage cows remain part of the group. Young bulls are only tolerated until the age of 13. After that, they become a nuisance. They're chased away to join up with other young males. The adults in a nursery herd like this one are constantly alert for danger, raising their trunks, perhaps to catch the scent of lions. Elephants very rarely produce twins. These 2 6-month-olds playing together will return to their separate mothers when the family moves on again. Elephants can scent water, or for that matter lions, up to 5 kilometers away. In this instance, they probably detected both. But the urge to get a midday drink overcomes caution. Even though they've got all these calves with them, they're in sufficient strength to intimidate any lions that may be resting or lying in ambush at the waterhole. Babies are prudently herded towards the center as the herd approaches the water. The lions appear to be enjoying a siesta. They probably aren't even hungry at this hour. Nevertheless, the matriarch of the herd leads with extreme caution. Note how the adult cows try to keep themselves between the lions and their calves. Lions are very respectful towards fully grown elephants. It would be a very rash lion, or even a pride, who tried to snatch an elephant calf with an escort as strong as this one. The pride has a number of young themselves, so they aren't taking any chances either. The senior cows at last decide that it's safe for the babies to drink. But so long as the lions are around, the matriarch remains on sentry duty. At last, she decides it's all clear for the herd to move out. There's little doubt that the lions felt that they were the threatened party. Lions invariably back down for elephants. In the burning heat of noon, the herd searches for whatever shade it can find. Fanning the ears is a trick the babies don't have to learn. It's instinctive. Blood passing through those huge ears is cooled by as much as 11 degrees. It's a brief break in the long African day of a baby elephant. Soon, the march to find food will begin all over again. An elephant is eventually killed by its teeth. If it lives to be 60, its teeth wear out and it can't grind up its huge daily intake of food anymore. The calves in this nursery herd were born with just 2 grinding molars. Each jaw eventually has 6 molars. They wear out and break one at a time. The first one disappears at 3, the second at 6 or 7. And it's little wonder when you consider the coarse nature of much of the food the teeth are expected to masticate. The last molar of their early 30s is the size of a brick, and when that wears out, the elephant is finished. These tiny calves will hardly have started on their first molars. Though the wanderings of the herd throughout the day may look random, the matriarch knows exactly where they're going and why. The day's march is based on the availability of the best feed and the nearness of water. Towards late afternoon, water is once again their objective, though naturally any opportunity to feed on the way is seized by the trunk. Most wild animals follow well-worn tracks, almost as if they're using main railway lines. There's apparently all the surrounding bush to choose from, but this is the regular and approved route to the waterhole. Generations of elephants have used it, so possibly it's the easiest, or anyway the shortest way. The herd gets into single file. It doesn't need a skilled tracker to pick out an elephant path to a waterhole. It's been rolled flat by heavy traffic, consisting mainly of 5-tonners. A remote-controlled camera buried beside the track obtained these remarkable shots. The herd usually reaches the waterhole in later afternoon or early evening. It's the best moment of the day, especially for a nursery herd with as many babies as this one. For infants, one of the best moments to suckle is when their mothers are relaxed and no longer preoccupied with feeding themselves. This baby weighed only 100 kilograms at birth 4 days ago. On milk that has 22% more fat than a cow's, it has put on weight fast. Only about half the calves in this herd will reach adulthood. In her long lifetime, each cow will probably produce 7 calves. She carries each one for 22 months. Elephant mothers treat their infants gently but firmly. This baby is being told it's had enough to drink. You can tell how young it is by its ears. The tips are still folded from confinement in the womb. This 4-day-old is so tired it can barely stand up. It's been on the move almost since birth and hasn't yet learned how to lie down to sleep. It's lifting its feet one at a time, literally to take the weight off them. Elephant babies are great at getting under their parents' feet, but miraculously, the adults always seem to know exactly where they are and never tread on them. Adult cows are extraordinarily tolerant of their own and other females' young. They often allow them to feed at the best places and are very indulgent about their continual high spirits. Watch how careful all these adults are with the 4-day-old baby who's trying to suckle. Elephant calves can stand 5 minutes after birth and walk in an hour. Sheer exhaustion after the long day's march is making this infant wobbly on its feet. It seeks reassurance from its mother. Elephants of all ages are addicted to water, but none more so than the very young. Even a youngster like this can suck up a bucketful at a time. An adult drinks 40 to 60 gallons a day. As you can see from the waterline round its body, this calf has already enjoyed a paddle. Now it's hurrying after its mother to join in a communal bathing party with the entire herd. It's a scene that needs few words. It sums up so perfectly the caring family life that elephants live with their young. The education of a baby elephant takes almost as long as the education of a boy or a girl in a human family. But that's because both have got a lot to learn. It's the protective nature of both families that make the long growing up process possible. Tomorrow will be another long, hot day for this young elephant. And tomorrow, there'll be a great deal more to learn.
More from Africa tomorrow at the same time with the flora and fauna of the Namib Desert.